When it comes to child abuse or maltreatment, there are some specific things to look for called indicators. Indicators are physical and behavioral signs exhibited by children and parents that may indicate that abuse or maltreatment is taking place. Let's hear more.
So Brian, can you give us a few examples of physical indicators of child abuse?
Well, bruising, obviously, is a big one. I mean, normally children who are of, toddlers who fall, they'll fall on elbows, bony protrusions. That's normal. Handprints, belt marks. Generally, when children are hit with an object, it will leave the imprint of the object in which they were hit. Switches, again, cuts, marks, bruises. But primarily, if the child is able to communicate, what did the child say?
Right, they tell you something,
they will
and
tell
then you
exactly.
see a mark,
Absolutely.
Making that connection. So Brian, how can a provider tell the difference between a typical childhood injury and a suspicious one?
Well, again, it can be difficult, but when children fall, typically they're going to fall on those bony portions, knees, and again, we'll ask the child exactly what happened. But when an injury is the abdomen, the back, typically those areas that are covered, that should raise a red flag. And again, we look at everything, the relationship they have with the parents, what are the persons legally responsible saying? What's the child saying? Is there a history of this type of behavior with this particular child? In a lot of instances, children just fall down a lot. They get bruised. That happens. But in other instances, those bruises are caused, or at least allowed to be caused by the person legally responsible. So primarily they have to look at bony areas and then those areas that are covered. Daycare personnel would be better apt to do that. They know their children. They're with them every day. They have the ability to inspect those areas that are normally covered. They then might become suspicious based on the history they have with the family, based on what the child said, and based on the area, the shape, the size of the bruise. At that point, they would be mandated to call us and at least discuss it with us.
And that's why for child care providers, their documentation is just critical. If you're seeing something, document it. So
Absolutely.
Then if you identify a pattern, you have that information.
Absolutely.
You have reasonable cause to suspect, and you contact the state central
Absolutely.
register.
They must document.
Well, and then behavior also plays an enormous role in the observation and identification of abuse and maltreatment. What should we be looking for in children?
Well, behavior changes, drastic changes primarily. A child who's normally not reticent, they're very talkative, they're involved with their classmates, and that child all of a sudden is quiet. They're ostracized for whatever reason. That is, to me, would be a red flag. Doesn't mean that we necessarily register a report, but I think the mandated reporter, the person that's in charge of that child, should inquire to find out what the problem is.
Right, and that is talking to the family, find out what's going on, and then documenting their
Absolutely.
observations at the child care providers.
Absolutely. In some instances, that behavior might continue. That could be detrimental to themselves or other children in the classroom.
What are some behavioral indicators then that a parent or guardian might exhibit? So beyond the child.
Well, I won't say ideally, typically. We will have a caller that will describe the parent's demeanor when an issue is being described to the parent. Generally, this might be school officials or someone that has a day-to-day contact with the child and the parent. We will have inconsistent explanations as to how a child was injured. The child will indicate that they fell down. The parent might give us a totally different explanation. Again, it's a red flag. We won't register in every instance, but in most, we will always err on the side of the child and register the report.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking, if with experience, a mandated reporter, a child care provider's experience, if they see an injury, it just doesn't make sense, and the parent's telling you one thing and you've got other indicators going on.
Absolutely.
Maybe not just this isolated incident.
Absolutely. Those are things that we question for, whether or not the teacher or the person that's called us, have they spoken to the child's friends? Do they have any information that would indicate that maybe it wasn't exactly as it was explained by the parent? You don't have to have firsthand knowledge. You don't have to have witnessed it. It doesn't have to be fact. All it has to be is based on your suspicion. Of course, your suspicion has to be reasonable, or we'll register the report just based on that information.
So then this suspicion, it's more than a gut feeling.
It is much more than a gut feeling. Unfortunately, people are intuitive, and they will know something's going on. Unfortunately, we need to know why, other than your gut. It has to be something that we can see, taste, or smell, so to speak. Divine intervention or your guessing, unfortunately, isn't enough for us to register a report.
And that's why there's the guidelines of the indicators
Absolutely.
that can help support your
Absolutely.
observations.
It would be definitely to the advantage of any new mandated reporter, even someone that's been doing it for a while, to review those indicators. You know about bruises and burns, and we all know that children fall down. We've all done it ourselves. We know what those bruises and marks look like. If it doesn't fit that pattern, and even if you have questions and you're not sure, call us. We'll walk you through it. We'll make the determination if it's something that should be reportable.
Oh, that's great. That's really great.
There's a complete list of indicators in your handouts. It's important for you to be familiar with these indicators for 2 reasons. First, you need to know what to watch for. And second, you need to know what language to use as you document your observations.